Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I'm Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
And we are talking about yet another film on the bottom 100 of IMDb's list, the October list specifically. And the one we're talking about today is, do either of you want to say the title?
In the Name of the King, a dungeon siege tale.
Yes. And this is our first Weeble. At least I think that's how it's pronounced, or Uvable.
I think it's Uva. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Uvable. Okay. Yeah, my German's not super good, so Uvable. Which year was it? I think it was like 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 2007 fantasy picture based on the, I think it's for PC, Dungeon Siege game. So.
Yep, I had that game.
You did?
Yeah, I wasn't ever able to play it. I had a shitty computer and just never tried after I got upgrades and stuff. But
I didn't know it was a game, but I should have figured being who the director is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I do remember those days though, like when you'd get like a PC game, but then like either your computer wouldn't be good enough to play it, or it would be an older game where your technology was too sophisticated to play it. It was either one or the other.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Yeah. I remember I owned Johnny Mnemonic CD-ROM game, but I was never able to get it to work because my computer was too good to play it. So
yeah. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Getting better now, though.
Yeah. So you never played Dungeon Siege?
No, I was familiar with what it was, though. It's like
okay.
I think it might even be a Dungeons and Dragons like offshoot of some sort too, just like for a PC.
All right. Well, did you ever play it, Zach?
No.
Okay, yeah, neither did I. So I kind of jumped into this totally blind. So all right, so we are pretty much unbiased then when it comes to approaching the how well he was able to adapt this video game into a movie, I guess you could say.
Yes, yeah.
So now I guess my question is, how familiar are either of you with the director Weeble or Uvable? Sorry.
I'd say I'm fairly familiar with him.
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
I like one of the things that got me into cheesy, shitty B movies was his movie House of the Dead. So
yeah,
I'm definitely know him for that.
Excellent.
I mean that movie is pretty much the reason I have the 1-star boob movie fucking rule.
Yeah.
That movie alone I can kind of point to. That's why I do this.
Yeah,
because it has some of the most funny, senseless nudity I've ever seen. I could imagine.
Yeah, the nudity in that movie is kind of legendary at this point because, there really is like it's pretty much like the most pointless, or among the most pointless like nudity ever. Like I think what it was like some girl that was on a boat and a guy walks in and starts talking to her. And like she doesn't have a shirt on, and there's like no reason for her to be like topless.
Yeah,
yeah.
Something like, it's been so long since I've seen that, but
we'll
be watching it eventually. I've seen it's up there.
Yeah, it sure
way
is.
up there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
But all right, Zach, which Uwe Boll movies have you watched?
I've seen House of the Dead.
Okay. It's a classic.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I saw Blood Rain or not. I think I did. Let me look. I know I've seen Rampage. which was actually kind of decent.
Yeah, as far as as his career has gone on, he has learned a thing or two. I feel like I wouldn't say his films have necessarily gotten better, but I do feel like he's kind of gained a greater degree of self-awareness, I feel like, with his films. So
yeah.
Uwe Boll, I think ultimately his biggest problem is that he can't resist the urge to give in to his worst impulses as a filmmaker. Like, if you're a filmmaker or you're a director, your main goal is to basically attempt to try to tell a story or to convey something, and that's kind of the basic thing that you have to sort of be doing if you're directing a film. That has to be your goal. And he always fails to do either of those things. He's not the worst. He's not the worst filmmaker ever, in my opinion. He's not even the worst German filmmaker. I can't even give him that credit, because Uli Lommel, which, rest in peace, I still think his films are of far worse quality than Uwe Boll's. But having said that, he still, definitely doesn't really know how to direct a movie. He tends to kind of I guess, how do I put it? His problem is that he understands sort of a lot of the like familiar aspects of things. My impression of Uwe Boll is he'll watch a movie, he'll watch like an action movie or a horror movie, and he'll remember very oddly specific things about it, and then try to like replicate those things, because he feels like those little specific things were what made that movie good. But when he does that, he fails to sort of like he fails to understand the logistics of conveying like atmosphere and tone. And he's kind of one of those good enough filmmakers, like, this is lit well enough that I can see what's going on. This, like he kind of knows the bare bones, but he makes the worst possible choices. That's sort of his big issue. Yeah. So.
And they gave him $60 million to do that with, in this one.
Yes.
And it went all to the cast. It had to have.
Yeah.
Pretty much, because if there's one thing that this movie can be complimented for, it's for having a cast of a pretty thick cast, actually, of familiar faces. So.
Yeah, and everything else you could tell was skimped on. I mean, the effects, the costumes, the set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Editing.
Pretty much. Yeah. Basically everything else about this movie is about as low grade as it gets. Like I feel like none of the actors really quite had enough direction. Like most of them looked lost. Jason Statham's character, he plays a farmer named Farmer, and
that's like I was going into it, was like, okay. He's just like, okay, if they're just gonna name their main protagonist Farmer, I can tell how much effort they put into this movie.
Yeah. And what I love the most about it is that like even the characters sort of like talk about it like that. Like a lot of characters will be like, oh, he couldn't make it, he's too busy farming. Or, oh, what made him become a farmer? It's like, oh, well, he wanted to farm. And like stuff like that, which is just okay, that's not good.
Lord, yeah.
We don't really get a good idea of what kind of farming he does. We're given a vague idea. We see him like wander a field a couple times, but
he traded like a pig for some corn to Ron Perlman. I think it was corn, right?
Yeah,
I think they said it was corn, but it didn't look like it.
No. Yeah, he was picking I don't know, fucking beets out of the ground or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever they were, they looked a little too circular to be corn. So, and then you pretty much the movie begins with Ray Liotta very awkwardly kissing Lily Sobieski. Like, I couldn't even believe it. Within the first like 15 seconds, like she and he are going at it, and they're like, and I'm like, okay, right. So this is the game we're playing.
And again, we're talking about the budget. I thought like the bed they were on looked like just a modern day bed, like in an apartment. I was like, hey, is this movie gonna do some like futuristic transferring, back and forth? Because it looked like they were in a high end apartment building with the bed.
Oh my God.
I was like, wait. I thought this was like some fantasy movie.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That first scene was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that first scene, like they couldn't have picked a worse, more awkward way to open a movie like this. Like that would be like the way you would open like an adult movie. That's not the way you would open a fantasy medieval picture.
Right.
And then also all the nighttime scenes look like they were shot on sound stages. They look like they were lit on sound stages too. Like the overhead lighting was ridiculous. There was no moon in the entire sky. It was just a giant headlight right above the actors on a set that's designed to look like it's outdoors. And
you can almost argue that for every single set.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much. And
lots
the
of
action
green screen for sure too.
Yeah. Oh, so much green screen. Oh. And the action scenes, like I've seen better action scenes in community theater plays.
Oh, they were so horrible. Yeah. They're so bad.
I've acted in better action scenes than this,
Yeah.
Like what was that at the very beginning when Jason Statham kicks his way through like 18 orcs?
Krugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Jason Statham couldn't save these action scenes.
Oh no, he had one or two cool moves throughout the whole movie, and that's it.
They were probably his own ad-libbing kind of thing too.
Yeah,
yeah. I got so tired of seeing Jason Statham's face in this movie. Like, so tired. There's so many like close-up shots of him just like in profile, just like looking at the camera going, and like right after his son gets killed, the way he reacts to it, he looks like he just opened a letter and got bad news of like an overdraft fee. He doesn't look like somebody who looks upset over the fact that his son was just like slaughtered by orcs.
Yeah, that happens another time in the movie too. That's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, after Burt Reynolds' character gets killed, he makes the exact same expression. He's like, it's like
something happened.
Really?
Something weird happened with his forehead when his son died in that scene. Did you notice that?
I saw that too. I was like, yeah, I did. I did notice that.
Like, what the hell?
He had like 12 wrinkles. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And again, when his son died, I was confused because it was off camera thing, and it just showed him like bearing a bag.
Oh, yeah.
His son are they gonna bring him back eventually, maybe, or is this like no? He was dead. Just they didn't want to. Of course, I mean, I'm understanding you don't want to show a child dying, but like.
Well, I mean, I knew it was pretty obvious that the kid was going to die from the second you meet him, because they made sure to pick the cutest actor with the biggest dimples, so that like everything that he said would be like totally perfect. Like, oh, I can't wait to, grow up and be like you, and oh, I love my family, and everything's so perfect. And then he takes forever to die. Yeah. It takes like almost 30 minutes for the orcs to finally kill him. Like he gets chased out of the house, and then he's like in the middle of a field, and he lays down like forever, going like, ah! And he's practically smiling, like he's just cringing for like the longest amount of time. And then you don't even get to see him get killed either. You don't see the orc like cut his head off or anything like that, which, whatever. I mean, I've already seen Game of Thrones, so I've had my fill. But regardless, like it's still kind of, I don't know. It was just such an anticlimactic kind of thing, and like just like everything else in this movie, and the colors were oversaturated. All the characters looked orange. I mean, Matthew Lillard, master overactor.
Oh, well, I do want to say that first. Well, yes, Matthew Lillard, best part of this whole movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was. Oh.
But again, it took
that eventually, I'm sure. But like, I do want to say that first action with the orcs just coming out of nowhere, or the Krugs, was just hilarious. I laughed probably the hardest in this movie out of all the ones we've done for this list so far, just because of this. stupid action shit, like his boomerang use.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, hula, hula, hula.
Not even connecting easily, like with his like
Yeah.
his like farming equipment.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
And
Yeah. Now, oh yeah.
I was gonna say the Krugs just looked like bad Power Rangers villains.
Yeah. Yep. I was like, they're just wearing loose fitting or tight fitting pants instead of any
Yeah.
like body or anything.
Yeah, it was pretty awful, and like also like the fight scenes were edited really weirdly because like right
So bad.
before, oh, it was so stupid. Like right before he would ever even make an impact, like oh sorry, my foot's covering up the light. And right before he would ever even make an impact, like it would cut away to like a lower shot, and it would just do that every single time. And I guess
Every
for whatever
single time.
every single time, and for whatever reason Uwe Boll thought that looked good, but it really didn't. It actually looked pretty lame. And it
Probably
just looked
trying to-
worse and worse.
He's probably trying not to linger on the Krugs too long to see their awful
Mhm.
costumes.
Or the yep. Or the horrible choreography fight.
Yeah.
That's what
Oh,
they-
yeah. Oh my god, and the costumes, like they looked even worse than what you'd see at a Renaissance fair.
Yes, all of the costumes.
Every single
Not
one of
just
them.
the Krugs. Like,
There isn't a
everybody's-
single good costume in this entire movie. Like even the king's outfit looks ridiculous, you know. And also like I noticed his like Burt Reynolds pants were just a little bit too tight for him. Like I was just a little puzzled and like, okay, wait a minute. And then also who else? Oh yeah, and then Ray Liotta, like, and we all love Ray Liotta. We all love Ray Liotta, you know, but like he kind of sucks when you really think about it. Like he's in the occasional good movie where he definitely like where his sort of performance style, you know, works, where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take this shit on, I'm gonna do my thing, I'm gonna be real, and I'm gonna do it, you know, like that's kind of Ray Liotta's style, you know. And it works in stuff like Marriage Story and Goodfellas and stuff, but most of movies that he's in, it really
in
kind of
Marriage
ends up being
Story?
obnoxious. Yeah, he plays the lawyer of Adam
oh.
Driver,
Yeah,
dukes it out with Laura Dern. So yeah, it's actually probably one of Ray Liotta's best roles, like in a while. You know, this movie didn't end up ruining his career, so
I'm surprised.
yeah. Actually, I guess it didn't really ruin anybody's career, you know, except for maybe Lily. So, well, actually, Lily Sobieski's like, I mean, I don't know. Lily Sobieski, she's the type of actor who, like, I really don't like her, like, as an actor at all. I like actually really can't stand watching her in anything. She's kind of one of those actors. It's like Ray Fiennes, where I just have a physical sort of like reaction when I'm watching a movie that has either of them in it. I'm not saying she's a bad actor, but yeah, I mean, Ray Fiennes is a great actor. I think my issue with Ray Fiennes is I've seen like a lot of the earliest films I've seen Ray Fiennes in were like villainous roles where he played like really gross characters like Schindler's List and stuff like that. And so because of that, I have trouble sort of thinking of Ray Fiennes as anything other than like a kind of gross character, even in films where he's not that type of character, you know. Not like I said, I think Ray Fiennes is a good actor, you know, and I even would have to say that Lily Sobieski, I mean, she's worked with Kubrick, so I'm not going to say she's a bad actor.
What has she been in? I don't really even. I know the face and everything.
Let's see. Probably. Well, I'd say probably her most well-known role was in Eyes Wide Shut, where she played the young teenager who's like in the costume closet with those the two businessmen, like when Tom Cruise is trying to get a costume, and she's like, she doesn't even say anything in the movie. She's just some young girl who's having, you know, an affair with a couple of like business associates, and it's like sort of a weird subplot. But that's probably
it, so, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably her most well-known performance. And then like she's also in like My First Mister and a couple other things. I mean,
Jungle to
Yeah.
Jungle.
I recognize it.
Yes, she's in Jungle to Jungle.
Oh, that's what I know her from. Then probably. Yeah. I know you knew her face.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really like her as an actor, but I really didn't like her in this movie.
I didn't mind her. I mean, she was useless, but whatever.
The part where she's crying and she's like, look,
Oh, yeah.
oh. Like, I'm just like, oh my god, this is like the worst. It was horrible. And I watched the version of it that was almost 3 hours, the unrated director's cut, which apparently isn't even the director's cut. Like, I guess Uwe Boll actually wanted the movie to be even longer than 3 hours initially, but this, like, whoever it was that put the movie out was like, no, you can't have it be like that long, and they cut it down to 2. And then, like, I guess there was a compromise, and he released a 2 hour and 47-minute long version on DVD, which was the version I watched, and the thing that sucked the most about the unrated director's cut is that there was no addition, like there was no gore, and there was no nudity, there was no like extra like bad content or anything like that. I think it was just mostly more dialogue and character development. So like I got more than my fill of In the Name of the King of Dungeon Siege Tale.
I can imagine. The 2 hour cut was way too long.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no matter how long this movie is, even like 90 minutes would have been too long. Like there's almost no plot, honestly.
No.
The whole story could be summarized in a solid 75 minutes. I think that'd be more fair.
Oh, yeah.
Both for the audience's sanity and for like the actors. But what was that?
I said, yeah, I kept checking the runtime. I'm like, shit, is this fucking over yet? It's one of those.
Halfway through. Halfway through, I had to pause, take the dog out or something. And I was like, oh, I'm only halfway. I was almost done.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't end. And also, like, I don't know why they did this, but like, did you guys notice that the actual impacts of the swords, like, they never actually showed the impacts when characters would be like swinging their swords around or attacking each other or shooting arrows or anything. They never actually showed any swords hitting anybody or anybody getting cut or anything like that. They'd always like cut away, which leads me to like probably my least favorite scene in the whole movie was the scene where Matthew Lillard's character gets killed, where like he gets his throat cut. Like,
oh right.
They couldn't even show it in that scene. They cut to a close-up of his throat just as it's about to get cut. And then they cut to like the corner of that. And you can sort of see like the side of his throat getting cut, like on the like the lower end of the screen. And then that's it. Like they couldn't even directly show that. Right. And he's like the one character that like you were expecting to get like a really gnarly death scene, and it just wasn't,
Yeah, I mean, same with like Ray Liotta, the main bad guy. He died the same way with the throat cut. It was they showed the slice, but he quickly covered it up with his hand. Like
he was like
like as quick as it showed up, he had it.
Yeah, and he looked so stupid. And like they added that weird like glowy effect to his eyes, and it looked awful. It made Nicolas Cage in The Sorcerer's Apprentice look like Gandalf the Grey. I mean,
they were going for the Lord of the Rings on this for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my god. Yeah. And then also the aerial shots, like the helicopter, there were so many of them. And like you could tell Uwe Boll was really trying to channel the Peter Jackson energy. He was really trying to go for it. But you could never tell what was going on in any of these shots because the camera was moving too quickly. So it's just like, what the hell are you doing?
Or or the frame was filled with CGI smoke, so you couldn't see anything, or fog, I should say.
Yeah. Oh my god! Every time there was CGI smoke in this movie, like, there was so much of it. And why was there even CGI? Like a lot of the stuff that they used for CGI, they didn't even need to use CGI. It was just like, what the hell?
I don't know.
Oh my god! And then like also, and then some of the transitional shots too, like when the characters were traveling. Like there was this one shot near the beginning of the movie where it was like 100 feet up in the air, and you were seeing the characters travel to like a town or like to like some area, and it looked totally deserted, right? And then the next shot was a ground level floor or ground level shot, and suddenly there's just people everywhere, like talking and running around and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my god.
There was a lot of that shit, definitely.
Yeah. Anyway. I don't know what was this even about. Basically, the farmer tries to save his wife and succeeds, and then at the end he says, you know, there's something I've always wanted to tell you. I love you.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh god. That's the last line. What? Yeah. It was so, it was so dumb, man. I couldn't, like, this whole movie, top to bottom, was fucking cheese. It
Yeah.
was,
Honestly, it really was. Although I gotta say, and I know this sounds weird, but even at 2 hours and 47 minutes, at least in my opinion, it still didn't feel quite as long as Ballistic X versus Sever. Like, I honestly think that movie is still worse than this. Like,
yeah.
like that's pretty much the movie that I've been weighing all these movies against so far, and
Nice,
so far none of
nice.
them have quite topped that one. But this
That's
one probably
yeah.
came the closest.
Yeah.
This one had a lot of laughable shit.
It did.
Moments, I mean,
Yeah, I think that's kind of what made it enjoyable for the most part. Yeah. But what was that?
Oh, I was gonna say that's your worst so far is Ballistic.
I'd have to say, yeah.
Okay.
I think that was, yeah. Like I guess out of all the movies we've talked about on the bottom 100, like to me, that's the one that like so far most deserves to be on that list. So
it's a fair choice, yeah.
yeah. Anyway, but do either you have anything you guys kind of want to like talk about, mention, bring up about In the Name of the King? Oh, by the way, the king dies halfway through the movie.
Oh yeah, and then
Like,
you
that's
find
another-
out that Jason Statham's his bastard son.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the way he
That's-
reacts to that, he's like, oh, and then that's it. Like,
Yeah. Like, oh, okay.
it's like
Oh,
Uwe Boll was
Jesus.
like, just react to it, and then that's it. Like, I mean, I dig Uwe Boll's style, you know, like as a person, maybe not as a filmmaker, but as a person, like I think that I like his passion. I'll put it that way. I like the energy that he puts into, like, you know, being how he is, his whole overall persona, where he's like, you know, fuck Hollywood, fuck the corporate system, you know, fuck anybody who wants to actually watch a good movie. Like, I'm not making movies for you.
Yeah.
And so, like, to a certain degree, like I can kind of appreciate that sort of that misfit energy. It's just that, like, when it comes to giving somebody like that $60 million to make a sword and sorcery epic, the end result is pretty painful in a number of profound ways.
Yeah. And there was just like needless, stupid comedy added into like that bridge scene where they were ziplining with their
Oh my
belts
God.
against
Way
the
too
green
much comedy.
screen.
Yeah. Oh, we haven't even talked about Ron Perlman yet.
Ron Perlman,
Oh,
yeah. He-
Yeah, he's in this movie. And I think also Chris, whatever that girl's name is, Christine. No, wait. I don't remember her name.
Kristana Loken?
Yeah, Kristana Loken from what was it, Terminator 3? I think it was.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I know she was also in Blood Rain as the vampire lady. So,
Mm.
but
I mean, Ron Perlman's death was the other one I noted that they had no reaction to.
oh my god, yeah.
The brother of Jason, or the sister of the brother of Jason Statham's wife was also captured, and they were trying to escape from the Krugs.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman dies and sacrifices himself, and like that brother guy was just like, oh well.
Oh yeah, and also the way Jonathan Rhys Meyers, or David, whatever that actor's name is, the guy who was in Lord of the Rings who played the dwarf. I always get the two names confused. But the way he died was funny too. He's like on the ground. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. It's just like, oh man, what the heck?
Yeah.
And then there was that Force People shit too. That was so cheesy.
Oh yeah,
those vines. The
vines. Yeah. Which at one point like captured Matthew Lawrence. Matthew Lillard. And then what's her name was like, yeah, I know what to do with you. And it's like, oh shit. You know, and then shortly after that he gets taken out.
Oh yeah. I still have to admit, Matthew Lillard, I mean, he was the best part of this movie. He read the script actually, obviously, and knew that it was shit and was cheesing it up the whole time.
I agree. He chewed the scenery like it was the most delicious like lasagna ever.
Oh yeah. It was so worth it for that too.
Yeah, it really was. Actually, he was the jester. You know, I know he was trying to be something else, but to me, he was the jester.
I mean, his character was probably supposed to be something else, but he made it into a jester. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
He drunk and then doing spittle just flying out like his like a fucking Scream. He was like, I bet Uwe Boll was like, I watched Scream and wanted him to do that shit at the like spit everywhere.
Yeah, he was probably like, yeah, just do it when you're in Scream, just do more of that or whatever. Like do it with his German accent, you know. Yeah. That's my Uwe Boll imitation. I just want to say fuck you. I watched that video on YouTube of him because he has a YouTube channel, Uwe Boll, where he just like, you know, basically just like posts videos where he just does nothing but talk crap. Like, and like he likes to like talk about like political stuff, and he likes to say that he's keeping it raw, although really all he's doing is just like swearing and like cussing and acting all like angry. That's pretty much it. But there's a video where he responds to a failed crowdfunding campaign and it's like, I watched the video like a dozen times. It was so funny, where he's like, my campaign has failed, so I just wanted to make this video to say fuck you and fuck Hollywood, and I'm not gonna make movies anymore, so fuck you, that's the end. Or whatever. And it was great. I'm just like, this guy is hilarious.
I think I saw that one too myself.
Yeah. I like his personality. He's like a angry, like testosterone driven version of like Tommy Wiseau or somebody like that, you know. Just a dream come true, you know. He's like the kind of director that we need more of in this world, you know. Somebody who is so passionate.
Yes,
he's got to be an enemy.
You could tell it was so testosterone driven because the whole main cast was big stars of males, as we should clarify. I mean, there was one or two female roles in this whole movie too.
Yeah, that lady from Mallrats is in it. Let's see. Can either of you think of any ways that this movie could have been worse? That's a question I've never asked, I don't think.
Oh, I'm sure there is, but
yeah.
Worse.
If it had been two parts, it would have been worse.
Said longer, but
yeah, we've already got that covered. Apparently, Uwe Boll wants to one day release his ultimate like dream director's cut, but I don't think that the audience exists for it. I'm sorry.
No.
I don't think it's gonna happen. You know, I don't think his vision will ever fully be, you know, brought to fruition.
There are 2 sequels.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they wanted to franchise it if they.
Yeah,
okay,
there you
figured
go.
that might- I mean, I assume they would try to if they
Yeah.
call it a Dungeon Siege Tale. Like,
Yeah, the second one stars Dolph Lundgren,
Oh no!
and the third one stars Dominic Purcell.
What?
Yeah,
It's like the most
I don't
random.
even know him.
he's one of the brothers in Prison Break, the one he's trying to break out. I don't know if you watch Prison Break.
I know who that is.
Oh,
Yeah, I just think that's really random casting. That's like that's like some of the most random. That's like even more random than casting Jason Patrick as the Keanu Reeves wannabe in Speed 2 Cruise Control. Like it just like when you cast like a random pedestrian actor in a movie like that, just seems just I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anybody who would ever want to even see a sequel to In the Name of a King, a Dungeon Siege Tale. And so like the fact that there's even more than one sequel is kind of unique to me, actually.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. Yeah.
And they're directed by Uwe Boll.
Yep, all 3 of them.
What? Oh shit. Okay.
Damn. You see that? If they were directed by somebody else, I wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I did not know that. Yeah.
yeah,
He's-
I'm kind of
like,
curious.
One thing is he does get his shit made. Like that's what I'll say. Like for the most part, I guess, except for like that crowdfunding thing. But
Yeah,
a
well,
lot of trouble with Postal or something, as I recall. But he got it made.
it's true. Yeah, I mean, he does somehow get these films made. You know, I think at one point he was taking advantage of like some like Canadian tax loopholes, and you know, which I think had a lot to do with why he was able to get like a lot of like his earlier films made like really really cheaply. Although I think ever since that particular loophole has been sort of curved, he hasn't really been able to do that, which means that he's actually had to sort of force himself to become a better filmmaker, which is probably it was probably hard for him, to be honest, you know, but because all he ever does, he just takes random things. I bet he'll sit down and he'll like play a video game and he'll maybe play it for 20 minutes and like maybe 1 or 2 things about it will strike him and he'll make absolutely sure that those things get in the movie, but then everything else he just takes these insane liberties with. Like Alone in the Dark was another one of those. I mean, just
Oh, I saw that one too. Actually, yeah, that's another one I saw
yeah.
of his.
Oh man, that might be his worst.
Yeah, that
Oof.
one was bad.
Yeah, I'd actually have to say, like, In the Name of the King is a better movie than that. Although that's not really saying much, though, because it wouldn't take it's easy to make a better film than Alone in the Dark. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it's a movie that starts off with Christian Slater on the airplane talking to the little kid, and the kid's like, "Oh, my mom says that you know." It's okay to, or it's good to not be afraid of the dark. And Christian Slater's like, well, being afraid of the dark is what keeps some of us alive. Like that movie, that's literally how that movie begins, and that's the highlight. So you can only imagine. Yeah. So In the Name of a King is definitely a better movie than Alone in the Dark. I will give it that kind of credit. Oh, and I also like the fact that Uwe Boll beats the crap out of people who don't like his movies.
Yeah, he challenges them to boxing matches.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, I would be doing this movie a disservice, actually, if I gave it anything more than a 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 1 out of 5 in my books.
Yeah, pretty much no reason to see it. I mean, unless you're like a hardcore bullaholic, you know, and like have a high tolerance for bullshit, then go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you like him, this is one of his better ones, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I laughed a lot for sure.
Yeah.
That shit that mostly wasn't supposed to be funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say as far as Uwe Boll's movies go, this ranks high. It's a higher tier bad Uwe Boll movie, I guess. You know, I mean, that's the thing. You get to the point where like a filmmaker's films are so consistently awful that you can actually grade them on a scale, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, so anybody else want to share any thoughts or?
No.
No, I got nothing.
All right. We got nothing more for In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege tale. I keep wanting to call it In the Name of the Father, but it's not Daniel Day-Lewis.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Pretty fucking far from that.
Complete opposite, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So I guess that's it. So that's all. Bye.
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 Okay, cool.